Carrice here from Hot 702.5 FM in Las Vegas. Get ready to experience basketball like never before. The historic National Pro-Am Championship Tournament, hosted by Delaware Sports Foundation and the HBCU Basketball Association, is taking center stage at the Doolittle Community Center in Las Vegas, Nevada, from April 25th through the 28th in 2024. It's more than just a tournament. It's a basketball extravaganza. Witness top-tier athletes, electrifying matchups, and slam dunk moments that will leave you breathless. Come see who will take home the trophy and first place prize of $100,000. But that's not all. We're shining a spotlight on small businesses. If you are a local business looking for exposure, seize this opportunity to be featured with our TV partners. Email chbcuba.com and ashaw@thehbcuba.com, and let your business shine alongside the thrilling basketball action. Save the dates and join us for an unforgettable experience. The National City Leads Pro-Am Championship, where the love for basketball meets the pulse of the city. Don't just hear about it, be a part of it. April 25th through the 28th, 2024 at the Doolittle Community Center. Visit hbcuba.com to get your tickets now and let the excitement begin.
Hi. Hey. What's up?
All your favorite artists.
Check it out. Say my name. DJ Khaled.
This is Mila J.
Bruno Mars.
On Hot 702.5fm.com.
It's your main man, 360 the Poet from the Morning Wood. And are you looking for the perfect drink? Well, you found it. Mimosa Royale is the perfect combination of California sparkling white wine and natural juice that is both tasty and refreshing. No artificial colors or flavors, no sugar added, and it's gluten-free. As the world's first ready-to-drink mimosa, Mimosa Royale is perfect for any occasion, day or night. You no longer have to drink 12 of those seltzers just to get that perfect buzz. At 8% alcohol, Mimosa Royale is the perfect drink to party with. Offered in a variety of flavors and sizes, you are bound to find a Mimosa Royale that you'll love. We have berry, mango, apple, and orange, with more flavors to come. Mimosa Royale is the most award-winning flavored wine that serves in bottles or cans. You can find them online at drinkmimosa.com or find them at your local liquor store. Ask for it by name. Mimosa Royale.
Oh boy, it is time. Okay, we're about to have a time today. All right, and we have a repeat. Okay, of a lot of things that went way left and controversial, and this guy definitely will push your buttons. Okay, he has a book titled "I Am Not Your Black." Okay, and this is I can read his old bio. It said he was 62, but I'm pretty sure he's 63 now, and he just had a birthday in January, I believe. And so now he's an older not black man. Okay, and but it looks like he's still a big kid at heart, who has a lot to say about a lot of things to do with what we call Black America. And without further ado, it's time to just go ahead and get on. Uncle MESHORN, how's it going? How you feeling?
What's up, my sister in Las Vegas? How you doing?
I'm well. Well, let's talk about your hat real quick.
Right, 100. I'm trying to thank you for acknowledging that right off the bat. I'm actually debuting the 100 line, the Uncle MESHORN, like 100. Uncle MESHORN. is saying that abstinence before marriage is 100.
Don't do it. Don't listen. Do not. You guys go have sex before you get married. Don't listen to Uncle MESHORN, because trust me, from some
before marriage is necessary to make sure
it's not
distort the innocence of our children. That's a 100.
Listen, when you find the one, do it before you get married.
You don't be paying attention.
Listen to me. Listen to me, who has been. Listen to me, who has been through this.
We already get right
listen,
into it,
right? I have been in that spot. Trying to be a good, wholesome person.
And don't give
getting.
it up.
I didn't, and guess what happened?
Yeah.
Uncle MESHORN, you don't want to know this.
Yeah,
you do not.
Listen up. My daughter.
It was terrible.
No, see, I'm sorry to hear that you had a bad experience, but let me explain this. My daughter, I can say that with a tremendous amount of great pride. Okay, when a father is in his daughter's head, 100. When the father is in the daughter's head, 100. My daughter decided to come to a Father's Day thing and called me while she was in college. Said, "Hey, Dad, can I come to your Father's Day thing that's going on?" I said, "Yeah." Now, I'm divorced from her mother. There's another conversation, but I helped her get into college and things, and I hadn't talked to her in a while. I thought I had missed what culturally I was taught by other men from other cultures. My daughter brought this young man to the Father's Day event. A father knows when his daughter is still innocent.
Yeah, and what I'm telling you is that me being that innocent daughter, right, in my 20s, right?
I'm talking about my father and daughter relationship. I don't know about you.
No. I'm saying me being that innocent daughter too, right?
Okay.
That innocent daughter in my 20s, and saving it for marriage, saving it. Me 23. Okay.
Oh, so you too?
Yes, saving it for this husband, right?
Yes.
And then Uncle MESHORN, it was trash. There was no other issue. But you know what? Things happen, and everybody has their own experiences, right?
Well, my daughter brought this young man to the Father's Day thing, and it was the most beautiful thing. It was the most beautiful thing what happened. I realized that she was considering this young man to having a relationship with. So I like, oh my God. The greatest compliment that your daughter can offer you is when she's considering having a relationship with her. She's bringing the man or the young man to you.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
That's the greatest compliment that a father should be striving for from his daughter. And I thought I missed it because of the divorce. And I'm going to here to tell you part of the reasons why I call myself I'm not black, because I didn't have that experience growing up. I was violated as a little kid. My innocence was stolen. My sister's innocence was stolen. It's all in my book. And then I learned about our culture, what being black is, that we're very promiscuous. We're very out there. We think sex.
Who taught you this?
Who
taught this to you?
I'm talking about black folks. I'm talking about
no, you can't listen. This is generalizing.
Listen, I'm just.
You're generalizing people who you were raised around in what,
like
Florida?
I said, I'm not black. I do not identify myself as black. I identify myself as a proud.
So you're saying
culture.
that the people who look like you were promiscuous and
promiscuous
and being
all
so.
Through my child. It's in my book.
So are you calling those people black people?
Not just my demographic, not just my family, but I learned when I went into the military, I was told by brothers that I wasn't black enough. You know why I wasn't black enough? Because I didn't have no girlfriend. I had not had no experience with women. Only experience that I had with women was...
Uncle MESHORN, I think we need to talk to the people who you were in the military with so we can get their opinion as to why you weren't black enough.
I wasn't
Not
black,
your own opinion as to why you weren't black enough. Their opinion.
I'm telling you, when I learned how to, when I learned to get the skills down, and I learned how to talk to the ladies, and I got my black card. They gave me my black card.
Because they
And
had to
so
teach you how, they had to teach you
I
swag.
I had to learn how to use nice profanity. I had to
No,
learn how to to
this
have
sounds
multiple
ridiculous.
women.
I
Come
know that
on
we've
now.
had this
You don't
conversation. I
wanna
know that we've had this conversation before about, and one thing I would like to have is open dialogue.
sure.
Not always, you don't have to argue with me, because most of the time I'm right anyway, right? So,
It's your well, I do know that the host trumps. I mean I give you the host
but
and
I'm
you
okay with you.
trump.
I'm okay with you having dialogue, right? But I always have questions. If you're saying something, I have a question, right? You're saying black people
Black
who were
people.
that you were raised around were promiscuous. But then you
Very
said you
promiscuous.
don't identify with black people. So who are these people? Do they look like you, or who are you calling black people?
And
And why are you so mad at every black person? Because every
see, I'm
black
not
person was not promiscuous.
see, this is what I grew up in I'm 63 years old. I grew up in the 70s. I grew up in the 60s and 70s. I know exactly what black exploitation movies were. I know exactly the environment that I grew up. I grew up in an environment where sexual promiscuity was out there loud and clear into our community. Okay, there is no doubt. And see, I see a person calling me an Uncle Tom. See that is exactly what I'm talking about. Unless you buy into the traditions of what it is to be black, okay, then you're considered an Uncle
What's
Tom
the
or
traditions
Tom.
for you, Uncle Mishorn?
Okay, the things that the
He
person,
calls himself Uncle Mishorn. I'm assuming it's a parallel of Uncle Tom of Vegas beer.
actually, the parallel, the reason why I call myself, it's three reasons, but the primary reason why I call myself Uncle Michaud has to tie into what happened to the uncle with Emmett Till. We tell the
So
feminine.
please do not relate yourself to the uncle who let these men come in and kill that little boy. Please do
See,
not relate yourself to that.
yeah, yes, I do. I do.
Oh, God.
See, this
It's
is
gonna
why.
be it's gonna be a long. It's gonna be a long
You
45 more minutes.
See what you just did there? You took the feminine story in the most the story been told from the feminine story. Let me tell the story from a masculine side, okay? About Uncle Morse Wright. Uncle Morse Wright failed Emmett Till and his niece because he did not realize that he didn't have the control in Money, Mississippi like he thought he had. He allowed that young man to come to Money, Mississippi, not realizing that he was confused about his position in Money, Mississippi. And so when you look at the story, and I don't watch the movie 5, 6 times, then I study about that man stood up, and I'm gonna go straight to the part. That man stood up in court and pointed out exactly the men that came and took those little boys out his house. But nobody want to tell the part. He said that man was a man who protected his family. If he would have tried to stop those men from taking that little boy out of his house, himself, his family, and everybody would have been killed. So Emmett Till was a sacrifice to protect his family. And I'm no there's a little shame in that, but it's
So who are you sacrificing to protect your family? Okay, so we're moving on. So we got a couple of comments here. They said Uncle Mishorn is out of touch, and I want you to know that so Uncle Mishorn, real quick, I have read your book, and there are a lot of things in it that I actually agree with. And
Uncle Mishorn is out of touch.
And we have agreed on some things that you have stated in your book based off of how we identify as a culture, right? And so yes, people are going to say what they're going to say, right? Because some things that you're saying seem a little outlandish. Okay, they seem a little, there's definitely an issue with a lot of different things. One of the comments. Go ahead.
So this is beautiful. This is beautiful because I wrote my book specifically for the dominant European culture. The way that I wrote my book, I didn't write my book for black folks. the way that I wrote my book, I wrote it in such an intellectual way, specifically not talking in my language, not Negro language. I didn't write my book in Negro language.
I think
I know you don't like
you know what I think
but
about. You know what I think about. You know what I think about when I hear you say certain things.
I do that.
Is that you know what I think about when I hear you say certain things? I hear like a significant amount of childhood trauma that you have not addressed, and you're addressing it as though the therapy is through your book.
My book is my therapy.
You need a you need a licensed therapist, okay? Because that's not gonna, the book is not going to address your childhood traumas, because the problem is that your experience is, of course, your own experience, right? But you cannot project your experience with people around you as though that's how all the people are, because it's not the case.
So this is the issue with you not willing to go in my book and pull out specific things. See, this is why I knew
who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? You talking to me? I know you're not talking to me, because we have had 2 interviews. We have 2 interviews where I have given. We have had 2 interviews where I have gone to you and specifically stated some things, and most of them I agreed with you on. So don't do that. Don't try to listen. Don't try to bait this into something where we're going to go back and forth and we're going to have an argument. No, we are talking about open dialogue about what's happening here.
Let's have
are you going to allow that to be such? Because I have questions. I am saying to you, sir, have you addressed your childhood trauma? Because you are projecting it on every person who looks like you in America. And it's not the case. Where you grew up, how you grew up, your parents are not our parents. So you cannot project that every person is promiscuous. Every person has a Negro language. I'm sorry?
So obviously you're not looking through the same windows I'm looking through.
You're obviously not. My windows right here look at Las Vegas Strip. You're sir. We have a whole different. We have a whole different life in the living.
In my book, I wrote about Louisville. And since you're saying what you say, so what you're saying that my childhood and things that I experienced is specifically just to me, because none of that I'm talking about, even though I've had multiple brothers who've come to me who acknowledged that they were molested, multiple brothers who come to me and said that their sexual appetite was taught to them from being black. If they didn't learn how to if they didn't learn how to have multiple black women, they wasn't a man. Multiple brothers talk about, I'm a man based by the size of my penis. Okay.
So do you have a small penis, Uncle MESHORN? Is that what we're saying?
We're talking about ongoing things that specifically talk about us culturally, that other people outside our culture looks at us and talks about us. And when I say that I'm not black, I was able to navigate in the dominant European culture, and I was able to see and witness and experience, and I get to hear things from their point of view looking back at us. And because of that, I too had the opportunity to look back at us on who we were. So I had to learn how to be accepted by us. I wasn't accepted just because of the color of my skin.
Right, but I feel like because
you keep trying to tell me because of my childhood. No, I'm telling you
because of your experiences. Accepted. Yes, but there is but that may not have been the case. Have you lived in Nevada? That's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you that was your surroundings. That was your experience. And that experience may not have been something that all of us experience. I definitely did not experience that.
So
and I come from a family who's highly educated, and as am I.
So let's specifically go straight to my book, since we're talking about I'm Not Your Black America, specifically something that I talked about. Okay, you ready?
I think I'm live here on my radio station. I've been ready. We're here. That's what we're here. We're here to have a conversation.
The Uncle Tom story. It's in my book. I talk about the Uncle Tom story. The Uncle Tom story is a story that we have used to keep us. It's the carrot and stick. It's the same way that the anti-Semitism is used by the Jews to keep people obeying and running and behaving a certain way. But when you go and study and read the Uncle Tom story, the Uncle Tom story has nothing to do with a black man learning how to be submissive and going along with white America. It was about and it's not even a true story. It's a story that was made up. But we have allowed that story to keep us, that anytime someone does not buy into what it is to be black, if you don't go along with the black stereotype, you're labeled as an Uncle Tom and someone outside. And the story about Uncle Tom is not even about that. The man was a hero. The man was a hero because he actually did not tell about people that he knew that was runaways. And the story is that because he died for that, the master said, don't become an Uncle Tom. And just like Bertie Mac, we got it all twisted. That's the story that's in that. We have gotten it all twisted. Is that not true? Do we not have the Uncle Tom story twisted?
You know what? I think that this is what I think. I think that sometimes, like I remember there was this dress, right, that was going around on the internet, okay, and people were trying to say, okay, what color is this dress? All right, we don't know if the dress looked like it was brown some days it looked blue, and I think that people interpret things certain ways. I come from a family where my grandmother was a historian, right? So we could talk about those things in depth. And Uncle Tom was definitely what would we say in modern day? Snitch. Okay, he was definitely not. So don't interrupt me. I'll let you talk. Yeah, we have an open dialogue here. You may not agree. Write it down. You got some note. You need to get a notepad and a paper real quick. I'll take some time.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
And by the way, send me that hat too. By the way, because I want that. So we could talk about. There's a lot of different interpretations that you can take from certain stories, right? He was definitely not for us, okay? Wow. But I think that what you can say, I think that from your perspective, you would essentially be that person who's just trying to identify and, be on the right side of what you call dominant white culture, right? He would be that guy. So, yeah, that's the word on that.
So you are in agreement, and this is what I wrote. And this Uncle Tom is an outdated color construct narrative perspective. If you're identifying as black, you ought to not be over eager to win and associate getting the approval of white people. That is exactly what you're just saying. You're saying because he was willing to. The man was trying to practice Christianity. The man was trying to stand up what he thought was the right thing to do. He did not squeal on the people that was around him. They killed him for not squealing. He was not the snitch that you just called him. He did not snitch. He stood up against what was going on. And I just read it to prepare for this. He died on his faith and believing that he was meant to go through the troubles that he had to go through to serve God. And so the reason why he did not snitch, because he was trying to help the slaves to escape. But you just called him a snitch. You just said that he was a snitch, and the man was not a snitch. The man stood up with some principles. The man had some values and had some principles. But this is what I'm talking. But see, that's the black lie. This is what I call BS. Black SHIT. We focus on our black. We love our black SHIT. We will defend it to the end and everything. We will not try to seek out the truth. And everybody will call me an Uncle Tom and that. We will say, this is what I don't say. BS, I call it black SHIT. Because we will, 100, we will defend our BS to the end. And I won't. I will not defend the BS that is putting us in the condition that we are in today. And so if that makes me an Uncle Tom, that's your terminology. I don't see that. I'm proud to be associated to a man that was willing to stand up and defend himself and be willing to die, not snitching, what you said, on the people that was trying to get away from slavery. I'm proud to say that you want to call me an Uncle Tom? I'm a proud Uncle Tom. Then.
I didn't call you Uncle Tom. That was in the comments. That's what I'm saying. That was in the comments, okay? So somebody over there mad at you.
We're talking about my book. Since we're talking about my book, and I'm Not Your Black America, and I said that the feminine side of the story about Emmett Till was Uncle Morse Wright. Uncle Morse Wright, I feel for him. He sacrificed his nephew, and when he stood up there and pointed him out, they still got away with it. But the man moved his whole family and everything away from there, and he had to divorce his family. A lot of things happened and everything because he lived in guilt, realizing that even the good that he tried to do, pointing out those men, that he knew that no good came out of it.
I'm sorry, Misha. I'm going to have to mute you for just a quick second to get feedback from the dog barking real quick. But while we do that, I want to go over more of the bio. So those of you who have listened before, we definitely talked about in the last two interviews about the book and about the delivery. And I think that that's the challenge with a lot of with everything. It sounds as though you're against people who look like us, but essentially you're saying that you are trying to work through the challenges that we've experienced and what the other side of it could look like, essentially. And I agree with you on a lot of those things because it was definitely important to have these tough conversations. Some of the comments here. Somebody said even the dog is over it. So I'll put you back on here in a second. So anyway, I was talking about our previous conversations and how we essentially did agree on a lot of things, but it's specifically the delivery and how you address people who look like us in dealing with conversations about you not being America's Black. Okay. So I think that's the challenge is that it sounds as though when you're delivering certain things that you are fighting us instead of trying to be an educator. And I think that oftentimes is very challenging, right? Because you want to be like, you know what, I want to sit with people and I want to talk to them. I want to be like, you know what, he made me think about that. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna listen and I'm gonna look. And I think that the advantage for me is that I got your book and I was able to read it and then have a conversation. Like we had a conversation about certain things about the book coming up and things like that. But then I was able to read the book by myself and then go and have a conversation with you about it. So I think that we also, we have to, manage our delivery sometimes when we're dealing with certain audiences. And that's exactly what you're saying is that you had people around you who handled you a certain way. And you didn't really appreciate that, right? And, those things are challenging. So let's talk about this book, right? I read the book twice already. And
I'm very impressed, very impressed.
Why are you impressed?
Because the people who read it may sound like I'm being a little racist, whatever the case is. The people who have read my book the most have given me some interesting feedback. It's not culturally been my own folks, okay? And
I just explained to you why. And
for those reasons, not for the reason.
But I am you're listen to me. I'm going to tell you the best thing. I'm going to do whatever. I have told people to go and get your book. Okay, this is not just something that we're planning to have this conversation and then okay, I'm gonna talk about your book. No, I've literally read the book and say, hey, you know what? You should actually take a look and read this book. The problem is that when you're talking to people who look like you, You're delivering the message and it's not inviting. So the white people, you're more inviting to them for whatever reason. You're more inviting to them to discuss and talk about things in the book. When it's us, you're arguing with us instead of trying to educate. So I think that that's something that we, definitely take into consideration on how you receive and how you put out information about this to people who look like us. And listen, I know me, sometimes you got to have a soft delivery with me. I'm very much a responder when it comes to certain things, but sometimes deliver things to me with a soft tone, and be gentle with me to encourage me to want to engage, further, for sure. What's your thoughts on that?
So with that being said, I digress. You know what I'm gonna digress and say, because it's not what you said. I've had very good conversations with multiple people. Okay. And so I'm going to say that majority of the time when I'm in the room with majority of my Democrats, and I had the discussions, okay, where it was just all of us in the room and about my book.
Who is us? When you say us, what does that mean?
Culturally, everybody in the room either identified as black or they identified themselves as a dissenter. There was nobody else in the room but just us. The room was full. And I received multiple mixed feelings, but what came out at the end is that, and it wasn't an argument, okay? We had a good talk, but the most important thing, we had pulled out certain scripts out of my book so people could have to ask me, why did I write that? That's what I really
right, and that's what we went, and that's what we went. That's what we did the last session. That's what I did specifically.
That's what I was going to do today. I wanted you to pull out and ask me specifically why I wrote.
Yes, but we're not going to reap.
We're not going to.
Yeah, this is the thing is that this is essentially, and what I'm thinking that you're wanting is this is essentially a series of dialogue that we're having, right? So the last session, I think I pulled out 10 things from each chapter.
Yeah.
We covered about 8. We covered about 8 to 9 of them, right? So I pulled out 10 things, and then some of the things we actually covered. I covered several chapters in one, but. You feel free to go back and watch that interview if you'd like. But we definitely, had that type of dialogue. But what I wanted to talk about today is, of course, we're going to talk about chapters of the book. But I think that I want to know more about like your stance on certain things that we're talking about today and how it relates to things that you have in your book, right?
Okay.
So, right now we're going through it's election year.
Yes.
And we know that we have some candidates that are running. 3 specifically that I would like to discuss. So how do you feel about President Biden?
Out to lunch.
And when you say that, you mean that in what way? Like
he's not capable of defending our country, defending our rights in this country, and defending us from the outside forces. He has. It's quite obvious that he's opened up the flood and he's allowing a lot of things to happen that is causing. And it's very reflective on us who call ourselves Black Negroes. That when you have people, and it's in my book, I talk about first glance pass. I said anyone who can, because of the color construct in this country is already in place. You have all these outside immigrants that can come to this country. They automatically come under the cloak of white. And that makes them be able to, as Martin Luther King was specifically talking about way back, he's saying that it is amazing how America is willing to open up a check for everybody else but us. And that is exactly what's going on right now. Okay, what's going on right now? Everyone who can pass as white, anyone who can pass as white can come. And then if they speak Spanish and everything else, they go way ahead of us because we are in the black box. We're in that box. And I believe President Biden has opened up the Pandora box and allowed that flood to happen to our
Are
country.
we blaming that on? We're not blaming that.
No,
Now, listen.
no,
I want you to know. I want you to know 90% of what you just said. I agree. Okay, so just so we clear that up. But we're not saying that Biden opened that box. We're just saying that it's still open.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly right. That box is open, and he's
we've been in this box for quite some time.
Here's the difference, and I don't know how many people are going to agree with this, and so this is where it's going to get controversial to people. I have never been a registered Democrat. I've always been a registered Republican. Recently. I am an independent. Now that my children are grown, I'm older, I'm now an independent. But when Trump was running, I specifically was one of the ones to engage getting the 13% of brothers, specifically brothers, to vote for him, not because I thought Trump was the man, but because I was wanting us to see us do something different than what we were always already doing. I was saying to black males, I was saying to look over to the Democratic side. If you're heterosexual, married man, concerned about being successful, tell me what exactly is the Democratic Party doing for you to help you to be successful, to achieve and accomplish. Give the conservative side, conservative means self-preservation. Give yourself an opportunity to strive for what's good for you, and your family, and your future. That was the whole reason why I did it. Well, I believe President Trump, currently, right now, whether you would like it or not, he's the only president that allowed our demographics of men. I'm talking about heterosexuals. I don't talk about the women. I'm talking about specifically our men, our balls to drop as real men. They can now specifically say and speak our truth like we have never been able to speak it before. We have never had our brothers being able to be outspoken and don't have to be concerned about what that uncle was fearful for. That man could not stand up and defend his nephew because he knew that if he would have tried to pull out his gun, that man had a gun.
But you don't think that has to do with societal change that may have come even after we had President Barack Obama. Like it was like a shift in change, right? So it wasn't. And we're not saying that President Obama brought that. I'm saying the shift in visibility. Right. And then to the ability to be open-minded and outspoken. Now, I'm not going to disagree that Trump has definitely lit some sort of fire in being able to be who you are, because he is definitely who the hell he is, and that's just what it is, right? I am 100% authentically myself. I would say I'm definitely registered as a Democrat, but I am going to vote as what is going to benefit my family based off of certain things. Now, we can talk about there's more than just two candidates, right? And we want to talk about we could talk about Dr. Cornel West, who's also running for the president of the United States. He might be too black for you, though. MESHORN. He might be too black for you. I don't know, because he's definitely he's one of those who's been outspoken well before Trump was Trump.
Much buffoonery for me.
Is too black for you, or are we calling him a buffoon? We name calling, because come on, we can call Trump a couple of names, okay? Okay, all right. Let's not do that.
How can I? What can I say? Too much. All right, if you want to say like too much black for me, okay, I just go with that. Too black for me, okay. Too black.
Okay, well, whenever you get a chance and you can attend a Harvard class, maybe you can attend one of his, and maybe you can find out more.
And there's the.
I mean, because not everyone not everyone can be a professor at an elite school. I'm just saying.
And there's the other issue. I'm not an academia. I don't believe in academia. I'm a bottom up grassroots brother. I sat around and I seen how if if black excellence in black historical black colleges and all that Pan African American studies that we specifically we shit around and jump around was all that good for us, okay, and done what they supposed to do, and all this black excellence in academia, why are we still in the same condition that we are in today? When I look
So
at my when I look at, I'm not even from Louisville, Kentucky, and I came and moved into this. I live in the Democratic environment because my wife wanted to live where her mother, it was my second wife, so I wanted to live. She wanted to live where her family were, and they was the Democratic environment, and I was there as a conservative. I was behind the curtain of blackness, Democrat blackness. And I saw all the things that was going on. And all I'm saying, with all the accolades that we give black excellence in academia, why are we still in the same condition that we are no better off than what we were before? Maybe
because it's systematic.
And there we go. There we go.
And don't tell, please don't. You just sat here. You just sat here and explained your livelihood growing up. You as a young man going to the military, and you're trying to tell me that the system is it's not okay. Let me just read this comment real quick. Let me just read this comment. It says. The comment says, Uncle MESHORN needs to stop painting everyone with the same brush. He does too much generalizing of black folks, and Louisville is large. Just because the people around him gave him his perspective doesn't mean everyone, or even 30% of black folks, for that matter, fall into that perspective. I've definitely addressed that. Richard Henderson, I definitely addressed that earlier today, and I completely agree.
Richard Henderson, I appreciate it. But if you're not read my book, then you don't even know what I'm talking. You won't have.
I can't see. The thing is that you know what this is what's important about media training, right? What's important about media training is that you cannot assume that someone does not, right, or has not. What? You cannot assume that someone has not read your book. You cannot assume that someone does not do. It's the way, but that's what we were talking about earlier. It's the way you deliver the information, right? Because we don't know whether or not Richard read the book, right?
So in other words,
right? You just told me.
I got it. So I need to be.
No, you're already passive aggressive. No, you're already passive aggressive sometimes.
So I need to say, Richard Henderson. I don't know if you read my book.
There you go. You know what? Just book me for that. We'll practice your media training. I got you.
Okay, I cut your check.
I got you. Because because that's important, right? Because he had a valid statement of things, right? Which he missed that we talked about it earlier, but he had a valid statement of his thoughts and opinions, right? But we cannot assume that he has not. So we have to.
On your point, let me just reemphasize it. On your point, Richard, thank you for your comment. I appreciate it. I don't know whether or not you read my book, but if you read my book, I think that maybe you may see or appreciate where I'm coming from. But I appreciate you saying what you're saying.
I like it. Can we talk about your book does have some pretty high ratings? Okay. We got 4.5 stars on your book. I mean, I think that this is the thing. And we talked about this. The book is really good. It's really informative based off of your opinion.
Thank you.
And I just think that more people need to be able to receive the information enough to want to go and purchase and buy the book, because this is definitely some great information.
That's why I wrote. That's why I also did it. So, I did some things very intentionally. I got a gentleman. His name is Michael Spencer. My wife said he doesn't sound like me, but he was about as close. He's a very academically intelligent brother. I searched him out. I had to go through 4 or 5 different people. Matter of fact, this is a true story. What happened is that I had 2 brothers who started reading my book, and they just refused to read my book. They said, "Oh, hell no, we're not going. I ain't even gonna do this, man. You You off the box. Well,
because I think, but I think it's because the preface is a little bit misleading.
Yeah,
and I know,
right.
and you know, for me, I'm a shock jock, right? So
Yes.
I'm gonna say something to get you to be like, what? And then now we have conversation, right? But the problem with a book is when you have especially if you have a preface, in the book, you're reading that to see if you want to read the book, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not telling you to do to make any changes, right? In the event that you decide you want to, the maybe reread the preface and maybe insert more things in the preface that were specific quotes, like some of the ones that I probably took in our last interview, because those were specific because I thought that they were important. And it wasn't really what we thought it was going to be. You know what I mean? Not. Right. So consider that. Consider it. Because it's a little, and although we know you said your book is written for white people, right?
Let's qualify that. I want to make sure. Let's qualify what I'm saying. All right. The reason I said that is because of James Baldwin. Okay. When you check out James Baldwin, and I did. I'm Not Your Negro.
I just want to say real quick, Richard said that he has read the book, by the way. And he has had many discussions about this very problem of generalization. So, so like I said,
all right. Hey,
I win.
Richard Henderson, he said he spoke to me. I don't know that him and I have actually spoken to one another. But let's get back to me saying that the book is written. I want to be clarified. I spent my book off of the fact that I was in a lawsuit. My book was not originally being called "I'm Not Your Black America." That was not the original title of my book. The original title of my book was "Conservative Uncle MESHORN." When I first started writing my book, I was writing from a conservative point of view initially when I started writing. What caused me to change the title of my book was my lawsuit that I found myself in, being fired from the corporation. Mm-hmm. And because I was,
we talked about that the last.
Because I was in.
Actually, we talked about that in our first interview.
Yeah, we talked about it in the first. Because of the multiple people that I was in the courtroom with, all dominant European white people, for those who want the dominant European culture, I started realizing, because I'm not from Louisville, they were talking to me in a manner that they was trying to keep me a certain way. And I started realizing they must think I'm a broke, ignorant, Nigger. And I started realizing the manner that they continue trying to, they thought I was like James Baldwin was saying, you think I'm your Negro. You think. And so I decided, and that's when I went to my ghostwriter and I changed my whole concept. I said, look here, okay, we're going to write my book from this perspective. We're going to write it because I am not very black and I'm not that in it. And my ghostwriter was a very academia, highly literal. I was speaking in MESHORN's language, my wife said. I was speaking my way. The gentleman took my language and he wrote it back because I told him I wanted the language to be spoken to the dominant European culture, because I want them to know I see you. I recognize what you're doing, and I want you to hear it day one when you read my book. So I wrote the book, yes, in a manner, in an intellect that was meant for them to be able to articulate it and get it first. Why? Because they're the dominant culture. If change is going to come, if change is going to be about, we must force their hands. It's like playing a game of chess. We must force their hands. And that's why, thank you for allowing me to get all that out for people who don't understand. There was an intentional reason for people who want to attack me and think that I'm not in touch. Oh, I'm very much in touch. I was a surgical tech for 40 plus years in the operating room, where I was the only one in the operating. I was the Michael Jordan in that MF. I was good at what I was doing, and I made people see me for the value and the assets that I brought to, not the color of my skin. I made them respect me, not for I was black, but I was a man that can handle my business. So, I take offense when people think that I'm just some sellout or some Uncle Tom.
But I told you why.
I agree, but they don't know me.
Yeah,
They make assumptions.
exactly. That's what
People
we've been
make
talking. They don't.
assumptions that
Right.
I'm this person, but I'm not that person.
MESHORN, you
I'm
are
so
saying
far from that
exactly.
person.
You are saying that's what. Listen, when we started this conversation off, you made assumptions as to how you thought Black people were, right, based off of your own experiences. That's not the case, right? So I can say
My
to you,
assumptions is also from the hurt and pain.
I
Of
said
my
it from your own
63
experience.
from my hurt and pain of 63 years of what I'm just
Yes, your
learning
own
how.
experiences, right? But everyone,
And my
but
book is from my experience, so
yes,
what
that's
experience
exactly
I
my
gotta speak from?
point.
I
That's
can't
exactly
speak
what
about
I'm
it from
saying.
nobody else's experience.
That's
but my
exactly
own.
my point, right? I'm
So
saying
I can't talk
these are
about
your own experiences, so
And
you cannot
so
project.
I have to defend my experiences.
You cannot. This is one thing, is that I can say, hey, you know what, in my opinion, or based off of the experiences that I have had in my life, these are the things that these are the reason why I
So my delivery, you said my delivery is too blunt.
So back to what I was saying.
Yeah. Okay.
Back to what I was saying is that there is a certain demographic who wants to see you riled up, and they want to get in the conversation about, the N-word stuff and, what you experience and why you don't identify as being Black. There is a certain demographic that will immediately raise their hand and sign up for that. Okay. They're going to sign up for it, and they have, right? The difference is that you have people who look like you, who are we really kind of have the same thought patterns on certain things, but because you're so aggressive with us, instead of being open to conversations and feedback, we don't want to hear it. So this is what I would say. And like I've said before, the book is a good read. Based off of your experiences and the things that you have gone through, I can see how those things that we discussed in our last session were extremely valid. Even you talking about Trump today, we don't disagree. I ain't voting for Trump, but we don't disagree, right? He probably gonna be in prison, hopefully. Okay, this is my thoughts are risky.
That's the agenda. That's the agenda. That's for sure.
I don't know about an agenda. He signed himself up for that. People sign themselves up for crime.
He did put himself in there. Don't give me. He did put himself in that predicament. I don't feel sorry for him. Whatever happened to him happens to him. It's on. He did it to himself. Okay.
Yeah, you don't have over 80 counts of crime, and you didn't do anything. Yeah. So I mean, but the things you just said, about Biden, I don't disagree. What did you say? He was what'd you call him?
I know. I said he's out to lunch.
out to lunch. We don't disagree. Okay. And that's what's so important about delivering certain information and understanding that everyone did not have your experience, unfortunately. And it sucks that you had those experiences and that now that's projecting into your world today.
I know our time is getting close.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to acknowledge the couple young brothers that have called me who have read my book. I just got another phone call today from a young brother who said they finished my book and they said they were thankful for my book. Okay. They said that it helped them to be able to look at their own issues and concerning some of the things and relationships. Unfortunately, a couple brothers said they happen to separate from their wives and everything because they're trying to be the man that they're trying to be based on developing who they are. They don't have the same mindset. And they said that my book gave them the balls to be the man that they thought that they needed to be. And for those reasons, I have to say that I have no intentions of writing another book. I put my heart in this book. It's like I married my wife. I gave my wife my heart. I have no desire to marry another woman. That she's it. To feel the same way I feel about my book. I have no desire to write another book. I put my heart into it, and I would ask anybody to go to my page, UncleMeshorn.com. I'm everywhere. I'm on Target. I'm on Walmart. I'm on you already said Barnes and Noble. I'm excited about all that. Give my book a read. and I got a lot of things going on. You talked about the 100 hat. I will send you address. I will send you a 100 hat. And
Oh, please do.
the hat is for the men, but I love the women who wear it. I did it for a reason.
Clutch my pearls.
No, the hat is for everybody, but I am trying to get more men to wearing it to be for more outspoken and speaking up and saying some things that need to be said. So I want to thank you for inviting me again. I hope that we can make arrangements that I could be here again as often as possible. And thank you for giving me the platform to speak.
Hey, listen, I appreciate you coming. And you know what? I appreciate you being welcoming of my feedback, right? Because like I said, there is value in what you've written. And we can't hear it if it's so much noise, you know? I like quiet. I don't know. I like to go meditate. I like to be in a Zen space, you know? And then I'm in a creative zone when that happens.
If my wife was willing to be a speaker and communicate, it is amazing that you all would be saying the same thing. Because my wife is a very quiet soul. She likes to get her quiet. She has her own quiet place. You know, she does
my kind of lady. James Edwards says that I am not convinced to read his book when he seems to exclude women and Black people. I think that's the thing, James, which I've touched on, and I don't know how long you've been on this live, but what I touched on earlier is that seems to be the case when we hear MESHORN speak. But unfortunately, it's not the case, and that's why I'm trying to get him to understand delivery is important. And then two, the preface of the book is important because it does not give what it's supposed to give. It gives us a completely different perspective of what the book actually says. So I think that it's important for us to have these conversations, right? And I appreciate all the dialogue, all the comments. We have some political scientists that's commenting on here that I see. And Richard, I did see your comment about a rebuttal to everything. You can follow me on social media, Carrice, that's ECARICE. But I think that it's important to take a look at the book. It's on Kindle. It's only $3.99 on Kindle. Okay, audio. So download the Kindle app.
I didn't finish what the audio was about Michael Spencer. Everybody who listened to the audio book, which I did the audio book for my folks. I'll keep it 100. I wanted the audio book to be for those who may not be willing to read. Go listen to the audio. Everyone.
When you say my folks, what does that mean? Are you trying to say Black people don't read? MESHORN, we gotta media training with me and you next Tuesday.
I said I wanted the audio book specifically knowing that I wanted my folks to listen to the passion. And my man Michael Spencer, Michael Spencer, he did an excellent job putting them in all the areas that is very complex that is written in my book. He went there. And he gave. If you haven't listened to the audio part of my book, it's off the hook, and that's all that. It's better than the read. Let's put it that way.
MESHORN, Black people read.
I didn't say they didn't.
You know what I want you to do? I want you to. I know you're gonna do this anyway, but replay.
Oh, I'm gonna listen to it 5 times.
and then we'll set up when we'll have another conversation. This was more. I wanted to more have a conversation, of course, about your book, the dynamics of the book, how we're gonna get the book to people who look like us, how we're gonna get them to read it. Because if we don't get there, we need to get there. Okay.
Oh no, we
need to get there.
I have to be. I was gonna say this earlier. The people who are buying my book the most, is sisters. I have to every time I do a book signing, I got a book signing this Saturday. The ones who come in about my book, the ones who I get the most comments and emails today are the sisters, the brothers who give me feedback, the ones who know me, giving me the most honest feedback, but it's a wake up because they didn't realize a lot of things about my life. So that's good. But the brothers who don't know me look at me sideways because they think I'm selling out. Okay, they think I'm doing some selling out, and I don't know how to answer that other than we have to have conversation.
Right. So this conversation that you and I are having today is to encourage people who look like us to take the step to read the book, and then we're going to revisit it and really tackle what we've already tackled it. So you can already go back into the second interview that we did. Just Google Hot 702.5 FM and MESHORN Daniels, because we did touch on chapters of the book and interpret what exactly it meant. So we really had an in-depth conversation about that. We need to do that again, but we need to do it in a Black perspective with a different tone. Okay. We need more Black because that last one, it was a lot of white people commenting on that one. But we need to have I have a very diverse, and that's fair, right? That's fair.
I have a very diverse and there's a lot of them listening today. Okay.
Yeah, and that's fair, but we also need to
pander just so you understand, because people think of it. I'm the same way. Anyone who knows me, all my American European friends, I'm the same way. I'm very, very, very outspoken, very hard, and I speak my truth.
Right, but what I'm saying, go ahead.
The differences, and I have to say, the differences, majority of my American European folks, they first do something that I have to give them props. They apologize, okay, for the pain that they see that I'm talking from.
As they should.
And they should, exactly.
And they should. But real quick, so just so we can just make sure that my point of this conversation was to get Black people to engage in the conversation, right? We need more Black people to read the book so that we can really have open dialogue, because when you say something, it's not really what the book says, and it throws us off. We don't know what the hell you're trying to say, So we're gonna do some media training.
But when you read the book, when you read,
we have to get to. That's what I'm saying. We have to get to the space to even want to read the book, as we're listening to someone who sounds as though they're against us. That's the problem. So we're gonna get there. I don't have a problem with reading the book a third time.
With your sisters, I told you, you've been good for me. You're like my wife. You're like my younger wife. Okay, that I give permission to get with me, and I don't give very many, folks permission to get with me. But on the air, you do a very good job in getting with me, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. Jennifer says, it does sound like he is trying to have a critical thinking conversation. It seems like he is more preaching that than honest debate. And that's exactly what I'm saying. So let's get to that space. We've had this conversation. Okay. We've had this conversation. Fair. You have received this information, right? You're going to process it and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this again. And you're going to be on tour, and we're going to talk about things. It's just what we got to do.
In fact, because we're gonna talk about you setting me up a little tour. I want to come back to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And I want to come in and do a speaking thing. So we'll be talking about that.
Be ready for it. Listen, yeah. I appreciate you. Tell us again your website so that people can go take a look, buy your book, all that good stuff.
100. See this hat? 100. Visit UncleMeshorn.com. 100. I'm going to do Morpheus. If you read my book, you will learn a little bit about my astuteness. If you choose not to read my book, you will remain not astute as I have become. Go to UncleMeshorn.com. I want to thank you again for being open-minded, and I want to thank you. Your comments and all the comments are being taken under consideration, and I receive it, and I will work on my delivery. Okay, I do have a very harsh delivery. I come from the military. My thing is tough love. I believe in big tough love.
Yeah, and I don't. So
you know what?
I'm a very gentle
Here's my attitude.
deliverer.
Some will, some. I mean, this might be harsh. I may lose some people what I'm about to say, but it is what it is. Some will, some won't. So what? Those who do will be the ones to make things happen. I've learned that through life is that those who are willing to step up and do the things that they need to do when they receive it is the ones I can trust. The ones that I gotta wheel them in, and then I gotta keep doing it to keep them wheeling them in. I get tired of that. That's hard work.
But you know what? You just have to know. It's like you just have to know how to wheel in each person. Each person, you can't wheel them in the same because we're not the same people. You know. I have two handsome nephews. I can tell them the same thing, but I have to deliver it in a different tone. Okay. And both of them will react based off of the tone that their TT gave them. And, it just is what it is. So I'm looking forward to that next conversation, and you enjoy your day out there, and we'll chat with you soon.
It's Derby weekend here.
It is.
So
it is.
Ready for the Derby. So thank you again. Appreciate you. And can't wait till we do this again.
All right. We will chat soon. Bye, y'all.